Hello again everyone, and welcome to another Heroes of the Good Ranger Team video. Today I'm going to be talking about the Ranger team that I used in my latest playthrough of the game. And as you've probably guessed from the last several videos, that I decided to go with the Forever Rangers pack. And I used them as a team to see how they fared. Now, one thing that I tend to not do in these team videos is mention who I actually faced, and that's because I don't remember them most of the time. But since this game was fresh in my mind, I will say that I faced off against, in terms of the foot soldiers, I faced the Cyclobots and Tyrannodrones. The monsters were Terrortoad and Commander Crayfish, and then the boss was Thrax. I used the Ranger Randomizer. It's a website slash maybe app that just randomly chooses from different categories, so that's how I usually decide who I'm fighting. I tend to not go for any theme necessarily when choosing my teams. Well, in terms of the enemies I'm facing. If I want to do a full thematic battle, I'll do that at some point. But just right now, since I'm just going by kind of playing the Rangers that come in certain packs together, I figure I may as well just fight a random assortment of enemies, because not every Ranger pack or expansion is a complete team of Rangers. Like in terms of they're all from the same team. A lot of them are from separate teams, just mixed together as one release. So I figure I may as well just do that when I'm playing against the villains, just choose randomly. But with that out of the way, in case you haven't seen the last videos or you missed a couple, the Forever Rangers pack consists of Rocky DeSantos, Adam Park, Aisha Campbell, Kat Hillard, and Alpha 5. So I used all the cards that came in those decks, and I used the Thunder Zords as their chosen Zords for the game. Since Mighty Morphin have lots of Zords to choose from, I just went with the Thunder Zords since they came in the Forever Rangers pack. This team actually worked really well. It took me a long time once I started I was just kind of sitting there looking at all of them. I wasn't exactly sure how they would meld. I was reading all the cards, but once I started going, the farther I got into it, the more I realized that these 5 actually do work pretty well together. Now to start, I did use Alpha as my last video when I talked about it. I used Alpha as if I was my own separate player, controlling him. Like I'd say, if I had 5 people, one of the players would have been controlling Alpha like a regular Ranger. So I could have been moving him around, and I considered doing that from time to time. Well, really, more towards the end, I decided to just try it. Well, I thought about doing it, but by that point, I decided, I'll just do what I was doing, and all I did with Alpha, I kept him in the command center the entire time, and I would just use his cards, to participate. Because, like they said in the rules, he can be controlled just like any other Ranger, but when he's in the command center, his character ability lets him play cards as if he were participating in the battle. But he's not participating in the sense that he's not affected by enemy card abilities. So I figured that kept a nice little buffer for him. And since he only has 18 shields, I didn't want him to be dying a lot faster than the Rangers, which I actually didn't realize until I was recording. It kind of worked out that I didn't send him in. But he actually worked out very well in the command center. I used his action tokens. Since he was able to participate, I flipped over his action tokens a lot to give the Rangers an extra 2 energy. So if you do want to keep Alpha in the command center, he's still not completely useless there in terms of his action tokens. I wish you could use his action tokens to recover other Rangers, but I guess that'd be a little too powerful. And for him, the card I definitely would say helped him out the most is Coordination. It added a die to attack cards, and they could keep the cards in their hand to use it again next turn. Yeah, like I said, that's kind of how I used Alpha. I kept him in the command center. I played his cards whenever he could. Definitely, I have to say the MVP of this game was Adam. And the biggest reason actually was the Power Axe. I love the Power Axe. I think it's one of the best cards in the game. And I used the Power Axe in combination with the Coordination. So I was able to use the Power Axe twice in one monster fight. And actually, I did use a really awesome combo with the Power Axe. It involved using one of the Arsenal cards that I ended up obtaining. And this time I did remember to get the Arsenal cards as I drew them, as they were revealed. One of the ones that I gave to Adam throughout the game was the Dino Charge Battleizer. The Dino Charge Battleizer, it costs 4 to obtain. It's an armor card, has 3 uses. It says, when you perform an attack, another Ranger may reveal an attack card with an energy cost of 1 or 0 from their hand. If they do, your attack gains the effect text of that card. This is actually a very powerful ability. I didn't realize how powerful it could be until I used this combo. So what I did was I used the Power Axe, activated the Dino Charge Battleizer, and Rocky happened to have Haymaker in his hand. I used that card because it was a cost of 1 or 0. And Haymaker says add 1 die to this attack for each shield on the top card of your discard pile. And the card that I happened to have at the top of Adam's discard pile was Cosmic Cannon, which was a 3 shield card, so the Power Axe got an additional 3 dice. So he was rolling 6 dice. On top of that, and I didn't realize it right at first because I was thinking, oh man, at the time I was trying to target a specific card, but it was being guarded, and then it hit me, wait a second, Cosmic Cannon, while this is the top card of your discard pile, I can ignore the guard keyword. So I was able to bypass the guard keyword, get an extra 3 dice, and then I used coordination so I could keep it in my hand to do the following attack, or in the future, not necessarily the next. I don't think I actually did it the right next attack. I may have done it maybe in the next battle. I rolled 6 dice. I chose 2 of them, and I think it was only 2 I only rolled like a bunch of 1s and a couple 0s, but still 2 damage to 3 different targets. I did it against Commander Crayfish. I'm pretty sure I did it against Terror Toad too. And I know I used the Power Axe against Thrax at some point, and Power Axe was really just paying for itself, 3 energy. You might ask, how are you paying for all of this stuff? And part of that was Aisha's Unstoppable Force. Whenever I did excess damage, I was able to move those excess hit tokens and gain the energy. I also used the Firebreath Thunderzord. So yeah, I was using the Firebreath Thunderzord to gain some energy with that. Aisha's character ability was able to gain some energy here and there. Adam, between that, and I was also flipping between using his Rapid Hit and his Leapfrog Strike. Those are 2 really good cards. Shuffling, moving them back and forth, like whichever, depending on the situation. I mostly kept Rapid Hit on the top of the discard pile, just so I could roll more dice. But I did use Leapfrog Strike during one of the boss fights. I did put that on the top of my discard pile, so when I used Rapid Hit, I gained 2 extra energy, so I could play the Power Axe. And it was, Adam, like I said, he was really the MVP of this game. He's a very good character. Moving on to Rocky, since he was the second part of that combo. I happened to draw both of his Sturdy Blows. So early on in the game, in the first round, I sent him by himself to fight some henchmen, some foot soldiers that had been there, because Sturdy Blows a guaranteed 1 hit, and Cyclobots, and I think it was mostly Tyrannodrones in the one that I was fighting. They tend to not have as much health. Cyclobots tend to have more health than most henchmen, but they don't do any more than 2 damage, so they're not very dangerous. They're just more annoying to get rid of. Whereas Tyrannodrones, they're kind of a mixture. They can do 3 damage, and they have a card that when that enemy card is defeated, it does 3 damage to someone, so they can be pretty dangerous. I think more so than Cyclobots, but still, Rocky was able to, and with Alpha helping him from the command center, they were able to take out the foot soldiers there. I used Sturdy Blow a lot. He was very good with that. His Haymaker, I didn't actually play it from his hand, but it helped with that combo that I was just mentioning a minute or so ago. And then I also used him in the boss fight because I knew what cards he had in his hand and what was left in his deck. I was able to have him take a very would have been a lethal blow to another ranger because he had all of his 3 shields in his deck. I was able to have him do that, and then still reduce damage from other cards, keep him in the game, and then I was able to eventually get his Power Sword against the boss. Use the Power Sword, and then on the next turn use the Power Axe. It was a very good game. But yeah, Rocky he did some chip damage and then 1 huge attack, and he was, like most Red Rangers, they support their team with, stuff like I said, Haymaker, just using it as part of the Dino Charge Battleizer combo. And I did also use his risky moves. I don't think it was the Power Axe I used it on. It may have been, I want to say it was one of Aisha's cards, but I can't remember. But I did use that and to take 2 damage, but I knew I had a 3 shield on top of my deck, and so I just gained 2 extra dice for the next attack. But he actually helped out a lot. I was kind of surprised. I didn't use his Bravery ability, but that's just because he was doing so well. I didn't want to risk lowering the cards in my deck and risk him getting knocked out, and then he would be able to help throughout the rest of the fight. Yeah, he was super awesome as well. Aisha, now, like I said, I used her to gain some energy with Unstoppable Force and her ability, taking out foot soldiers. Her Snap Kick I got to use 2 or 3 times, its ability to roll 3 dice for nothing. I did use her Power Daggers also. I combined that with, I think I may have used her and then the Power Axe after that. I may have used the Power Bow. after using the power daggers to combine with Cat to do some serious damage to the boss. The best card for her that the card I was using the most actually for her was Double Up. I kept recycling Rocky's sturdy blows into his hand. He kept using them, and then she would play Double Up to add them back to his hand, and then I would recover with Aisha, and she'd get those cards back into her deck, and I'd draw into them, and it was just a nice loop. Finally, Cat. She was actually the tank for most of the game. Because of her ability to kind of manipulate her deck, I was able to get a lot of 3 shields back on top of the deck, and then so she would be able to soak up most of the damage, especially from the Cyclobots, and she wouldn't lose any cards in her deck. And like I said, her Firebird Thunderzord I used to gain some energy. And I did use her Power Bow against Thrax. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get rid of the card I was attacking, but I still did 5 damage to a 6 health card. So I nearly took it out, and I still ended up winning the game anyway, so it was great. Like I said, I mostly used her to tank damage, but I mean, hey, I didn't expect that from a Pink Ranger, so it was really helpful. But yeah, there's a lot of synergy with this team. It's just not very obvious at the start of the game, and I really want to emphasize how helpful the Arsenal cards were. I would not have been able to do as well as I did without them. I think they make the game more fun. I know some people, I think I may have mentioned this before, some people think they make the game too easy, but wouldn't say that. I mean, this game was easier than the last couple I've done, but even then, I didn't steamroll the entire game. Thrax was actually giving me some trouble. I wasn't in danger of dying right away. Like most games, I'm more in danger of losing because all the areas are threatened. I mean, I could have used the alternate rule that, I just get rid of all of my extra energy tokens at the command center if I get threatened, but I decided not to see if I could do it without it this game, and sure enough, I didn't have to rely on that. I was one enemy figure short from being panicked out. But yeah, Cat was really good. Like I said, I don't have too much to say about Cat because I really just used her to defend and then used her Power Bow once. But I'm not going to say that wasn't helpful. It was still really good. Next, actually, I'll talk about the Megazord that I used for this game. And I actually did get the Megazord. This time I decided to go with the Thunder Megazord. And surprise, surprise. Its ability says, each time any ranger performs an attack, they may reroll any number of dice. So I did get that during my fight against Thrax, my first fight against him. It came in handy. I mean, like most Megazords, you don't get to use their abilities. You only get to use them maybe once or twice by the time you get them, but that's why they're so powerful. I used it with Rocky's Power Sword, because I rolled pretty bad the first roll, so I re-rolled them, and it helped a lot. Same with, I think I used it with the Power Axe one of the times. I mean, pretty much any time I performed an attack, if I did bad, I just re-rolled, did it again. It's a very useful card. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I can think of in terms of any combos I really want to talk about. Like I said, maybe next time I use Alpha, I might move him around a little more, actually have him move to another location and participate there, just so that way, I mean, he can take some damage. He still has 3 shield cards, but he's not someone you want to be taking a lot of damage. I mean, if he is defeated, then he goes to the command center and he can still participate in the battle, so losing him isn't the worst. You just end up losing one of your energy tokens in the command center. I wasn't sure how he actually was going to do. There's the reason I haven't used him, because I always kind of thought, I don't know how good he's actually going to be. But yeah, I mean, he's changed my mind. This game changed my mind. So I'm looking forward to using his second form, and also I think Dr. K is another support type character. So when I get to eventually using her, I look forward to see how different they operate. But yeah, that's the Forever Rangers pack. This whole team came in the Forever Rangers, expansion. Forever Rangers pack also came with the Mega Tiger Zord, I believe, but I decided to go with the Thunder Megazord just because I wasn't using the White Ranger. But yeah, great team. Adam's definitely the MVP. I wouldn't say necessarily there was a worst one, because they all played their parts. Without the Dino Charge Battleizer, I'd say probably Rocky was the weakest. But even then, even without that, he was still, dealing damage to foot soldiers, and he used his Power Sword, so he was a lot more helpful than Scott was when I used him. I mean, I don't mean to harp on Scott, I just was not able to take full advantage of him, so Rocky was just super good. But yeah, that's the Forever Rangers team. Now this one would actually somebody had sent me an email wondering if I would, do this team at some point. And I wasn't planning on doing them anytime soon, just because I'd done so many Mighty Morphin Rangers already, but I figured, this is the first time somebody's actually requested something from me in terms of, playing a game with a certain team of Rangers. There's another team they suggested, but I won't get to them right away. I'll probably do at least 1 or 2 more teams before I get to that second request, just to mix things up a bit. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to say who it was because I won't give their name out if they don't want it, but they don't want me to. But yeah, this video's for them, and I hope you all enjoy it, and I hope you look forward to the future Rangers I cover. In the meantime, head on over to OnceARanger.com, check out the full card database, and affiliate links will be provided below. Thank you.